What's up, everyone? So it's feeding time for the pigs. It's been pretty cold. It got down to 30 last night. We'll come check on everyone. Remington's ready to eat. We had about 2 or 3 days of rain. It rained about 5 inches. And he's got a crater right there. We threw straw in here and wood chips and stuff, and he just can't help but root. He's over here by himself. And you can see he just a big baby. He wants some attention, but he's made a mess out of stuff. So he's on a diet. You can't let him get too big, or these sows will get rode down whenever he's trying to breed them. So he's on about a 3 pound a day diet. He don't like it. I don't like it, but he don't need to get too fat. So I'll show you. I had to come over here and get I left my bucket for the sows over here. Let me grab it real quick. They're on about 10 pounds of feed a day since they're nursing, and they still act like that's not enough. They'd eat all day, I think. Let me see if oh, Patty's always hungry, so I don't know. So this lucky bucket, I weighed it out. It holds 10 pounds of feed, so they get 5 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon. And they're still gonna act like they're starving to death. I've got them set up with these barrels, these barrel tops I cut out. And they work pretty good for feeders. And they'll kind of push them around during the day a little bit. Gives them something to play with. She's hungry. So she gets half. So Violet gets half of it. And then Patty over here, she gets half. And we'll take a good look at the piglets here in a minute. They're doing good. She's got her pan pushed up in the house here. We'll pull it out with the hoe. Get her out of the way. Get her fed so she'll quiet down. So her piglets are 2 weeks old yesterday, and you can see they are growing. We got some really good growth rate. This one right here is a gilt, and it's about outgrowing everything. This first one here, this one back here, this second one, that's a little, he's a bar now. He got cut. So all these pigs have been spoken for except for one. And we're kind of holding off because we've got one little runt in here that's not growing real good. He's not quite snapping out of it. We don't know. This little guy right there, he's not wanting to snap out of his runniness. If something happens and he doesn't make it, or something happens like that, we've got another one in this other litter over here that it was a runt, but he's starting to grow out a little bit. And these guys right here, they're not 2 weeks yet. A little over a week old. And you see they're really growing too. Some good growth rate on them. The little guy right there, the little spotted one, that's the runt of this litter. And he's already starting to fill out a little bit, so I think he'll be all right. I think he'll go ahead and grow. One out here, walking around with Mama, and that's a little gilt out of this group. Found something that's chewing on. They're not wanting to come out in this cold weather too much. You can see them up there underneath that heat lamp. They're in their piggy pile, staying warm. She had some really nice looking piglets. From about the week mark on, they really start packing on weight. It's kind of impressive, the growth rate that these things are having right now. The camera doesn't really show how chunky these things are getting, but you can see we got this little gilt here, and she is absolutely growing like a weed. She is a nice looking pig, and we've got a couple of these gilts going for breeders, and she's making a mess out of everything. She just started doing that a couple days ago, where she's just throwing stuff around. It's like she can't eat it fast enough. She gets it in the dirt, but she eventually eats it out. Just is what it is. But you can see this little girl here. She's just a really nice looking gilt. And that little boar, those two right there have the best growth rate of the ones we have. They are really, at 2 weeks old, those are some really nice piglets. And they're getting plenty to eat. You can see they'll chase her down. They don't have any mercy. Those two right there definitely are going to be quality pigs. That would be my 2 picks of the litter. And I'd have kept the little boar, but I'm not trying to do some inbreeding here. And that little gilt right there, if I really considered keeping her. But I'm not quite ready to get rid of Remington yet. I'd have to get rid of him and replace the boar. And so we're just gonna let her go. She'll make someone a real nice breeding gilt. And I think I've got the people picked out that I'm gonna let her go to that need a good breeding gilt. She's got a really great growth rate. And out of both litters so far, she'd be my choice for one to keep. There may be a gilt or 2 out of that other litter that I think would be good ones. And you can see they're all trying to stay warm today. There's a couple other ones in there that are pretty nice, but these 2 right here are exceptional. They are really, really growing out. So, I mean, that's 2 weeks. I like to cut them when they're young. I don't want to wrestle a 30 to 50 pound piglet and do it then, and do it when they're young, when they don't have as much feeling. And act like nothing's ever even happened to them when you do it when they're real little. So I cut them at 4 days old. Just waited to see if anyone was wanting any intact males. And we had two people wanting intact male, but they wanted these red ones. So we left 2 of these red ones intact. But I do have something else. My wife asked me if I did a video when it all happened for my other channel, Raised Outdoors, where we hunt and fish, and I didn't. It wasn't something I wanted a video of, but I hunt, and that's how we mainly feed our family. You know, this pork, chickens we raise, eggs, and then the deer I kill, and the fish we catch. So we had a little story, and I'll keep it short, but we had it was actually a KuneKune pig that had turned feral and was on our hunting property. And we tried to contact, see who it might belong to. Nobody knew who the pig belonged to. Well, it ended up, it had a piglet, and the Game and Fish was telling me I needed to shoot it, you know. So wild hogs are an issue. Now, not wild KuneKune hogs, but this thing was tearing everything up. It was eating everything in the woods, and really starting to cause a problem for us, and we could not locate someone. So they told me I needed to take it out. So I did, and of course we didn't waste the meat. We ate it. The thing was not in the best shape. It was really thin, except for the fat it had packed on, eating out of everybody's deer feeders in the neighborhood. and it had packed on some fat that wasn't even really good fat. So, but we did eat it. It was good pork, but not great. You know, not a ton different than wild pork because it was so lean. But it had a little piglet, and everybody said, "Well, kill them both." Well, I wasn't going to kill the piglet, so anyway, I ended up catching it. It's wild as a buck deer. It's never been around people that I know of, or not much. So I've got this little KuneKune piglet, and this is as calm as it's been right here today. The other pigs don't like it at all. It's got a heat lamp, a lot of bedding in here, and I'm gonna see. We're hoping, we've had this thing for a week, and we're hoping it'll calm down. My wife likes it. She wants to keep it as a little pet. If we can't calm it down, then we'll give it to someone that's got KuneKune pigs, that hopefully it can have some other pigs around. It tried to, you know, it tried to make friends with our other pigs. Did you see Violet right there? She's the one with the little red piglets. She doesn't like it at all. She'll charge the fence. She'll try to run it off. She does not like it. So she's going to trample her piglets, or eventually break a fence down trying to run this thing off. We're going to get it fed here. See if it'll come up and eat. It's getting a little more used to me. So yeah, it's eating. I don't think it'll let me touch it without acting up. It's really not a fan of. It'll bite you if you're not careful. It's just wild. I've been trying to let it get used to me. We had it just out in this big pen, but it really didn't like to come up to us. Yeah, that's as much. It's never let me pet it. I guess I just needed to do a video. So we probably feed it a little more than it needs. Give it something to do. We put it in this little pig house, and hoping we can calm it down. We had it in a dog crate for a while. It absolutely didn't like that at all. But so my wife will be excited that it let me pet it finally. It's been over a week. Thing has never let me pet it. It's bit at us, everything else, so it may calm down. I don't really want to deal with KuneKune pigs. They've got a little bit of a weird smell to them, to be honest with you. I mean, all pigs smell, but they've got a dander that's unlike any other pig I've smelt. And so she wants it for a pet. I can't breed it or anything, but I guess if she wants a pet KuneKune, she'll get a pet KuneKune as long as I can tame it down. Patty over here, she's gotten to where, for whatever reason, she wants to tump her feet upside down. She never did it for a long time, but she acts like she wants to eat it off the dirt, so we'll let her. Gotta get her some water. I need to get them an automatic waterer set up. Fix them up a 55-gallon drum like we have the other pens set up, with nipples going out each direction so that they can drink from both pens here. She can drink from over here and she can drink from over there. I almost didn't tell everyone about the KuneKune pig and how I got it, but it's a reality. I mean, you know, if I don't take care of that pig and utilize the meat from it, then someone else is going to kill it and probably leave it laying in the woods. You know, if you have pigs, it's important to keep them up. In the state of Arkansas, after 30 days of being in the wild, they're considered feral, and the Arkansas Game and Fish wants you to kill them because we have such a bad, pig problem now. People are going to say, well, it's a KuneKune pig. Well, yeah, it is a KuneKune pig. There's a male somewhere on a farm somewhere or something. So eventually she'd find a way to get bred. And then you have a bunch of KuneKune pigs. And it doesn't matter what kind of pig it is. They become wild, then they become a problem. And, she was going to come back and eat. That little piglet was to the weaning size. It was eating whole kernel corn out in the woods. So she was going to wean that pig off and come back and heat. Then we were going to end up with more pigs, and then pretty soon you have a wild population of KuneKune pigs. And she wouldn't let you pet her either. She would keep her distance from you. You could tell at some point she'd have been around humans, but she had lost her trust, and so she had taught her baby to be completely wild. I almost never caught the thing. I had to kind of trick it to catch it, but I didn't want to leave it out there to starve, so I did the best thing I could do. I utilized the mama pig, and then we caught the baby pig, and really tugged at my heartstrings. I didn't want to do it. We left her out there forever, hoping that someone would claim her, that they would get her locked up, and they didn't do it. And it's just a harsh reality, but it didn't go to waste. I actually had some barbecue pork sandwiches the other night. This one here and this one over here, about 350-pound sows. They're young. And our boar over there, he's well over 400, maybe almost 500 pounds. And that's the type of hogs that we raise. And then we sell these feeders. We can have 4 litters a year. And we can pay for the feed and the processing for our family. Now, I can butcher the hog myself. I don't really have the facilities. It is an undertaking for me to butcher one. And I don't mind doing it. But if I can get the butchering paid for free, then I just assume let them do it. So we'll see how that goes. You can see a couple of more of these piglets are out. That same big gilt, she's out feeding. And here's another little gilt here. And I'm not keeping these. They're going to be feeder pigs. This one right here is my favorite for a gilt. And this one, she's just got black eye patches around her eyes. Looks like she's got mascara on. I call that pig Maybelline, but I don't know. And this is one of the runts under here. And he's out here trying to get him a drink. And you can see he's considerably smaller than the other ones. But he's drinking. I mean, they're doing their thing. He's trying to grow out of it. This is the one that, even though he's smaller, he's starting to fill out a little bit. But his little brother in here, I'm just not so sure, which he's at the back of the piggy pile back there. I'm just not sure. You can't really see him from here. I'm not sure how he's going to do. She didn't like that little KuneKune could come up to here when we had it in that pen, and she just didn't like it at all. She would charge that fence. And she's a serious mama. She'd charge at the KuneKune pig and then nudge all of her piglets to get back in here, and then she'd stick her head in there almost like she was counting them. Now, I know she wasn't counting them, but she was making sure they were all safe. And then she'd go back out here, and it was so stressful on her. So she just didn't like it. I don't know if it's the smell of it or just a strange piglet. And she didn't really seem to mind it too much. She'd go up to the fence over here, and her potty's over there. She'd go over to potty, and she'd just stick her nose up to the fence and smell it. And these little piglets would go over there and smell it. But the little boar's back out. It won't be long, 5 weeks or so, that they'll be going to their new homes. So they're all, like I said, they're all spoken for. I didn't have to really advertise them. I showed a couple pictures of them and stuff. And with the pigs that are available anymore, it didn't take long. And they were all spoken for. Like I said, except for the one. And I didn't really advertise for him. I kind of stuck him to the side in case we have a problem with that one runt. In case there's a problem that he doesn't get weaned, then we have an additional one to replace him with. So that's kind of what I think at this point, since we've gotten this far with them, I think we're going to be okay on getting them weaned unless something just ridiculous happens. They're all eating good. They're all putting on good weight. Some better than others, which that's to be expected. Some of them just going to have better growth rate. If you're selecting selecting your pigs and you're looking for conformation and growth rate and stuff like that, that's something to pay attention to. So you go pick up a pig, you're going to notice some of them are smaller than others. Doesn't mean that they won't pick up later, but typically you want to choose the ones with the best growth rate, the best conformation, and all of those are looking really good. We've got 3 or 4 that are going to be exceptional pigs. I wish I could keep, but that's not what I'm doing it for. We may in the future, and we've thought about this. We may in the future, trade our boar out. He's a young boar. I'd like to get a couple more litters out of him. Keep a couple from him. Get us a different boar. Then we can keep one of the gilts and breed her. And then we would have 3 breeding sows eventually, which is about where I think I'd want to be to make a little money off of them. Right now, we're going to be able to pay the feed bill, pay to get our pork butchered, and maybe, start putting a little money back for some repairs and stuff. But it's not a lot. I mean, you're not making a ton. It's just so difficult to sell pork in Arkansas. Most of the people I know have quit because it's just too expensive with the feed prices. I mean, in our area, to get the stuff to make your own feed, by the time you get it and everything else, it's just about as cheap to go to the feed mill up here and buy it. I don't buy the cheapest feed available. I could probably save, somewhere around $40 or $50 a ton or a half ton per half ton on feed, but I just don't think the feed quality at the other places is good, and that's just what I'm getting back. The place that I get it from, they make all types of feed. They'll custom make it for you, and they've got a good return, even with show pigs and stuff, winning a lot of stuff. Show, calves, cows, goats, sheep. I mean, they really do a good job of producing good quality feed. And my pigs, after eating this feed, will not eat sacked feed hardly. If I feed them sacked feed because I let myself run out, it is hard to get them to eat it. They'll eat about half of their normal daily ration, and then it'll just lay there and they act like they're starving. They just don't like it. So there's something about this feed that they really like. It puts on good weight. And I've noticed already that some of these little piglets at 2 weeks old, they're eating a little bit of it here and there. So, so we're basically just sticking to feeder pigs. I hate the ordeal with the KuneKune pig, and I know some people are going to be upset but the area she was in, there was no way to catch her, no way to get a trailer in there, no way to round her up. She had a piglet. It was just a bad situation. We had thought everything we could to try to get her out of there, but she's 3/4 of a mile deep into the woods, and if you tried to get close to her, she'd just get deep into a thicket. There's no way of rounding her up. So we did the best thing that we could for the pigs and for the wildlife population and stuff by taking her out of there. So anyway, leave a comment. How do you feel about it? What would you have done? I don't know. I mean, we battered it around. I mean, in 3 months of getting pictures, as soon as my son started running cameras for deer, we had pictures of this pig, and you could see it got to a point where the deer wouldn't even come anywhere close to where that pig was at. She was rooting everything up, wallowing around. She was a big, full-grown KuneKune pig. You couldn't do anything with her. I mean, she was big enough I couldn't load her by myself. I had to go get a tractor, and then even the waste that we had left over from butchering her was so big, was so heavy that I had to get my brother-in-law to help me load it up. So she was a big KuneKune pig, probably as big as a KuneKune sow gets. And she was just lean. She didn't have any bacon on her. The ribs were thin. I mean, it was kind of like, you know, deer ribs. It just didn't have much on them. We were able to quarter her up and save the tenderloins on the inside, the loins, the hams, the front shoulders. We divided it up in roast. I cooked some. I gave half of it to my brother-in-law, and they've been cooking it. And so we're utilizing it. It's just a harsh reality. I'm not just a homesteader, I'm a hunter, I'm an outdoorsman. Not like the TV guys. We do it to sustain ourselves. So anyway, there's that explanation. So as you're seeing these videos, we'll start giving you updates on the KuneKune piglet too. You can see today is the first time I've ever been able to pet that piglet. And you know, I'm hoping that maybe it's going to settle down. It would never come up to us. It would stay in the back corner of that. Even just yesterday, it was not going to let you pet it. So the fact that I petted it today, that's a huge accomplishment. I'm glad I did the video, because I probably would have just fed it and left it alone, because it just seemed like, you know, it's just been an ordeal. I just seemed to stress it out more than anything, trying to pet on it and stuff, and then did a video, and then today it just lets me pet on it a little bit. So there you go. The wonderful world of pigs. Appreciate you watching.